Alright, so in this lecture what we're going to do is go over how to draw a ceiling plan in our Sterling Cooper project. Alright, so ceiling plans, basically they're going to take place here on our ceiling plan view. So what we're going to do is ceiling plans, and then you want to go to the ground floor RCP, or ground floor ceiling plan. Alright, so this is what it's going to look like when you're finished. Essentially what your ceiling plans are is if you've taken off the bottom floor of your building and you're looking at the building kind of upside down, or you're holding the building kind of over your head. You've taken the floor off, and then you're looking right straight up at the ceiling. And so what we've got in here is we've got a series of 2x4 fluorescent lights, some troughers, and then let's see, then some can lights here. Then we're using two different types of ceiling materials. One of them is going to be gypsum board. Then the other one is going to be this 2x2 acoustic ceiling tile. So I'm going to go over to the Architecture tab, and ceilings are created over here in the Ceiling command. So I'm going to select that real quick. And what it does is it brings you into sketch mode. Right, so you've got sketch mode, and then you've got two choices: auto ceiling and sketch ceiling. All right, but let's go over kind of first the two ceilings that we're going to be using in this project. We're going to be using the GWB gypsum on metal stud. And then the other one we're going to be using is the 2x2 ACT, or acoustic ceiling tile. So 2x2 acoustic ceiling tile or gypsum wallboard. So the ceiling tile basically is essentially what we have in this classroom here. This is the 2x4 acoustic ceiling tile versus what we're going to use, which is a 2x2. Essentially all this thing is that I'm going to go in here to edit type, and I can edit the structure of that ceiling just like you would a wall. I mean, it's just like the floors and the roofs. You can go in under edit type and then edit the structure of the floor or the wall or the ceiling using that edit type command. Alright, so what we have is an acoustic ceiling panel that's 5/8 inch thick, and then the structure basically, which is 1 inch and 5/8. So essentially all an acoustic ceiling tile is this this kind of horizontal and vertical grid system. And then that's basically hung with wires to the structural system, and then you lay in these 2x2 or 2x4 acoustic ceiling tiles in there. The benefit to a ceiling type like this is it gives some acoustic qualities to the ceiling. It's easy to get up in there to, I guess, adjust mechanical equipment or to get access to your roof. And then the other thing too is that these ceiling tiles are fairly inexpensive, so if one gets stained or ruined or broken or something like that, you can throw them out. So you see acoustic ceiling tiles quite a bit just because they're cheap and they're easy to replace. Now, gypsum wallboards are a little bit more expensive, and essentially what you have is a GWB here, and it's 5/8 gypsum board, and then there's a metal stud layer, and the metal stud is hung by wires to the structure above. You'll see this basically in a lot of bathrooms or small closets. So we're using it here in the lobby because it's a nicer finish than acoustic ceiling tiles. We're using it in the bathrooms because by code you have to put in hard ceilings in your bathrooms. It also prevents things from escaping that room, and it kind of holds them in there. Then we're using it in the small closet because it's such a small space that it's not really worth going to the effort and putting an acoustic ceiling tile in. You'd be cutting pretty much every tile that you put in it. So small closets, really nice finishes in ceilings and bathrooms are usually the places that you're going to find this gypsum wallboard ceiling. Alright, so that is basically the two ceilings that we're going to use. Then we're going to load in these light fixtures by family, and then I'm going to show you a couple other things here in the lobby to kind of fix up that lobby a little bit. Alright, so this is what it looks like when it's finished, and let me show you what it's going to look like. Let me just kind of start a new project here, or go to an older project to show you what it's going to look like when you guys start it. So let's do that. We'll just borrow this project here. Alright, so this is probably, at this point, this is kind of what your ceiling plans look like right now. Alright, so you could have no ceilings, no room tags or anything like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start out with the ceiling. So I go to the ceiling command, so I click on that, and we're going to start with our 2x2 acoustic ceiling tiles. So I'm going to do that. Now you can do automatic ceiling or sketch ceiling. Now automatic ceiling is used for really simple shaped rooms. And automatic ceilings, you can just put them in real quick. So all you got to do is go automatic ceiling, and then you hold it inside the room. You can see the walls highlight in red there. and click, and it'll place this acoustic ceiling tile in there. All right. Now, before you do that, actually, I kind of jumped ahead a little bit. Before you do that, you want to actually plan out how high you want that ceiling in those rooms. And what we want is 10 feet for our ceilings in our project. So before you go in, start putting in your ceilings, make sure you set your height offset from level to 10 feet. All right. So 2x2 acoustic ceiling, 10 feet, and then you just start kind of putting them in there. Oops, wrong room. That one gets a hard ceiling. Alright, so there's my acoustic ceiling tiles. Now, some of these little, there's a chance that you may get this ceiling, or you may not get it, with that automatic ceiling. The more complex the shape is, the harder it is, but it looks like this time it'll do it. If not, what you'll have to do is use sketch ceiling, which is this one here. And when you do sketch ceiling, basically it takes you into sketch mode, and you can use pick lines or the draw command to kind of draw the outline of that ceiling. Alright, so let me do that real quick. Let me switch ceilings here. Let me go to ceiling. Alright, I'm going to stay with automatic ceiling, and I'm going to change it to the gypsum wallboard on metal stud. So GWB on metal stud, select that one. Alright, and I start putting in my ceilings there. So alright, so I put in 3 ceilings in there with the gypsum wallboard, but you'll notice that it doesn't look like there's a ceiling in there. But in fact, there actually is a ceiling in there. So let me just kind of do a section cut through there. Alright, and go to the section view. Okay, so here's my bathroom, and there's my gypsum wallboard ceiling in there. The ceiling in there is basically has the gypboard in it, so you need to make one real quick adjustment to that gypsum board ceiling when you put it in. So I'm going to go to Edit Type, I'm going to edit the structure of it, and I'm going to go edit that material, that gypsum wallboard. I'm going to go to those 3 little dots here. Alright, the problem is it doesn't have a surface pattern, and that's why you're not seeing one in there. So what you'll do is you'll go to Surface Pattern, and then you're going to pick a pattern, and just go, I think gypsum wallboard's in here. Alright, gypsum plaster. I'll say OK. Alright, so in order to get those gypsum wallboard ceilings to show up in your ceiling plan, you're going to have to put in a surface pattern on them. Alright, so now when I hit OK, OK, and then OK, then I go back to my floor plan, and you'll see here that they've got gypsum wallboard showing in the bathrooms. Alright, then the last thing we're going to do is then we're going to do that lobby. Alright, so what I want to do is I want to go down through this hall, and then I want to basically trace the outline of the second floor there. You can see it highlighted in blue. Okay, so I'm going to the architecture ceiling command. This time I'm going to have to use sketch ceiling because it's the only way to draw that one. Alright, so sketch ceiling. I'm going to use my pick lines command to kind of go through this hall here. Alright, and then I'm going to trim it so that it's a closed loop. Alright, it looks like I put a little extension down here. Alright, so there is my gypsum wallboard ceiling at 10 feet. And there it is, just basically tracing the outline of that second floor. Then I hit finish. Alright, so there. So now I've got all my ceilings drawn in, so that's step 1. Step 2 is basically adding in those light fixtures. So to add in those light fixtures, all those are basically component families. And if you go to the handout, let's see, let's go back to here. 2x2. Alright, so I go back to the handout, and this is it here. Alright, so I go to the handout here. We're loading in these 3 light fixtures. So a troffer light 2x4 parabolic, a down light recessed can, and a pendant light, which is this linear 2-lamp pendant. We're also going to put in some mechanical equipment in here. We're going to put in a supply and return grill. So you've got your supply register and your return register here. So we're going to load in those 5 families. All right, you'll notice this is a little preview of what it's supposed to look like when you're finished. That's almost impossible to see. So what I did was, under Blackboard, under Assignments and Quizzes, I put in the Sterling Cooper Reflected Ceiling Plan PDF. And so if you go to there, this is a much larger version of that ceiling plan. So this way you can see this a lot better. So you can see actually where you're putting in these supply and return grills and the troffer lights. All right, so let's load those guys in real quick. All right, so I'm going to go to Architecture, Component, Load Family. All right, then I'm in the U.S. Imperial Library, so I want to go to, let's see, Lighting. Double click on the lighting, and then we're doing architectural lighting. Internal. And let's see, what was it? It was a downlight recessed can, if I remember correctly, a troffer 2x4 parabolic, and a pendant light linear 2 lamp, if I'm not mistaken. All right, so you can pick all 3 of those. All right, and then say open. That's going to load those guys in.
What was the third one?
Troffer linear 2 lamp. Troffer linear 2 lamp, I think. Oh, I'm sorry, no. Troffer was the 2x4 parabolic, if I'm not mistaken. Let me go to the handout real quick. I'll find that. Whoop. Yeah, it was a Troffer light 2x4 parabolic. Then the other one was a downlight recessed can, and then a pendant light linear 2 lamp. All right, and then I'm going to go get those supply and return error registers. Those are on the mechanical equipment folder. All right, so let's go back to the project, architecture. All right, let's go to architecture component, load family. Let's go to the mechanical folder. Let's go architectural, airside components. Let's see, heat distribution. Nope. Here we go. All right, it's under air terminals. All right, we want the square return register and the squared supply diffuser. All right, so square return register and square supply diffuser. All right, so let me put 2 of these in a room, and I'll just kind of tell you the difference. So the difference between the 2 here is that the one, so you've got one with like kind of an X in it, and you've got one with kind of a half slash in it. This is the one with the half slash in it here is the return error, and this one is the supply error. So remember, X is the supply error, and the half slash is the return error. Okay, so what we're going to do is you're going to put in a lot of these 2x4 parabolics in this office space here. So let me just show you how to do that. So I'm going to go to Component. All right, and then I'm going to go to my type selector, and I'm going to search for that 2x4 parabolic. There it is. As far as the voltage goes, you've got a couple different choices. You got a 2 lamp and a 4 lamp. I think the instructions said 2 lamp. Whether it's 120 or 277, at this point we really don't care. So I'm just going to put in 120 volt. It's up to you if you want to put the 277 in. All right, then I'm going to put this in, and I'm going to hold it over the ceiling. And basically what it's going to do is kind of like a door. It's going to cut a hole in the ceiling, and it's going to place itself on the ceiling at the ceiling level. I'm going to hit the space bar to rotate it. Oh, nope, guess not. So the space bar won't rotate it. The other thing you'll notice too is it doesn't quite snap. It's like it doesn't snap to the grid. So the best thing to do with these light fixtures is just place one of them. And all right, place one of them in the ceiling, and then just use the align and move commands line, move, and copy to kind of spread those lights around. So now if I select it, I hit the space bar, now it'll rotate. So it'll rotate after it's been placed. So now I can use the align commands to align it with the grid. All right, there. You don't need to lock it. Just align it there. All right. And let's go to the handout. All right, so that first one is 2 grids over, and looks like 2 grids down from that column grid. Alright, so I need to come over one more. And I need to go down one. Okay. Then at that point, then it's just copying it. So there's 2 grid spaces between them. So yeah, you could array them if you wanted to. Yeah. So it's up to you however you want to put them in. What I'm going to do is I'm just use the copy command. So I'm going to select it, copy, multiple, and I'm constrained because I want them to go 90-degree angles. And I'm just going to move this one over so there's two spaces in between them. Alright, so it's much easier to do this by placing the light fixture in the ceiling and then moving it around rather than trying to place each one individually. Because when you try to place it individually, so from the component, you can't rotate it, you can't snap it to anything, so it's just easier just to place the light fixture in there and then just manipulate it with the rotate, move, and copy commands. Alright, so there are your light fixtures, and you're just basically placing them in, aligning them to the grid. In here you'll put in those 2x4 linears, so let me just kind of add a 2x4, that linear pendant light. There it is. Alright, I think it was a 96. Alright, and then I'll just place in my pendant lights in that room. Alright, so what I'll do is I'll just place them in the room and then I'll come back and align them and manipulate them later. Then in that hallway out there, I've got my recessed can lights. There. And I don't care whether you use, typically for commercial buildings, you're probably going to use fluorescent anyways. So I'm going to use a fluorescent 120 volt. And I'm just going to place them in the hallway and just align them later. Alright, so basically what you'll do is just kind of go through each room. Another good thing about these ceilings is that they're actually manipulatable. You can pick the actual individual grid lines and move them over. So you can slide them, move them up, move them down. For example, in this room here, yeah, and then I'm going to place this guy in that room. Let's rotate it. Okay, so I'm going to place this guy in this room here. Alright, so this one here, you want to actually center the light fixture in the room. What you can do is you can actually use the dimension tool to center these center the grid in that room. So what you do is you just go to the dimension tool, align dimension. I'm going to go to the interior faces of the wall. I'm going to go to the grid line. Alright, set my dimension, and then if you hit the EQ button, that'll basically shift the grid over so that it's in the middle of the room. Now on this one, I'm going to actually just move the light fixture to the middle of the room. Alright, but the same process. And then hit EQ, and it shifts the light fixture to the middle of the room. And now what I can do is just use the align command to align the fixture to it. Oops, of course. Let me move this back, sorry. Because it shifted the light fixture. It shifted the light fixture when it shifted the grid. But that's basically it. So use the align commands, the dimension tool with the EQ button selected, and you can move light fixtures to the middle of the room, or realign your grid lines for your ceilings. Alright, so that's basically placing the light fixtures and then adding the ceilings. And then I'm going to do another part to this video where we're actually kind of aligning the light fixtures and then making some more modifications to the hallway or into the lobby area.